Present day. Present time.
Alright, boys and girls, Linux enjoyers and closeted Archie. So today we're going to be talking about something that is legit and flips the entire idea of VRAM limits on its head. So I'm that serious. You might think that your GPU is outdated, your VRAM sucks, and you need to drop $600 for a new graphics card. But Bell just did something massive with SteamOS that changes everything. And no, it isn't a meme. This isn't satire. This is straight up Linux Jesus walking on VRAM water, motherfucker type of shit. So let's get into it. Let's roll it. Now, let's be honest, VRAM consumption has been one of the biggest problems in gaming in this past few years, and games are getting bigger. Textures are building like an American portion size, ray tracing eats up VRAM like Kirby inhaling blocks of cheese. And the moment you hit the VRAM ceiling, you get stutters, freezing, hissing, performance tanking harder than Saint Rose reboots on self. So naturally, everyone thinks that the solution is, hey, let me just buy a new GPU, bro. But yeah, with what money? See, my viewers are Linux users. We can't even afford RGB. That's a joke. I'm not being serious. I know there's a lot of freaking snowflakes in this channel. Sometimes, not all of you. Okay, but here's the crazy part. Valve has been secretly building this technology for years that's basically bypasses VRAM limits. And they started doing it for a reason nobody really expected. And yes, you know it's the Steam Deck. So the Steam Deck has 0 dedicated VRAM, and it's an APU, a CPU and a GPU sharing the same pool of memory like siblings sharing a bathroom. So Valve had to build SteamOS to dynamically allocate memory on the fly. Memory isn't CPU versus GPU, CPU versus GPU. It's shared flexible pool. They had to reinvent memory management from scratch, and guess what? They somehow did so well that the deck punches way above its weight class. Now, fast forward to today, Valve is launching a new Steam Machine, or the Steam Frame, a proper desktop class device with 8 gigabytes of GDDR6 VRAM, 16 gigabytes of system RAM, a discrete GPU, and a Zen CPU. So pretty normal specs for 2025. Nothing crazy, nothing. But the revolution isn't really the hardware, it's what SteamOS does with it. So most companies would have dropped the unified memory model the second that they moved to a discrete GPU, but Valve, so now let's keep improving it and get this bitch overpowered, you know what I'm saying? And now here's the freaking crazy part. So SteamOS still uses unified memory model even with dedicated GPU, meaning if a game spikes past 8 gigabytes of VRAM limit, SteamOS doesn't die like Windows, it doesn't freak out, it doesn't choke, it doesn't micro stutter like a toddler learning to walk. It just silently goes, haha. Anyways, about that. And pretty much it allocates system RAM as temporarily VRAM like a hybrid memory scaling, but done properly. The GPU thinks that it has more VRAM than it actually does. It's VRAM. It's like a VRAM DLC if you really want to put it in gamer terms. So, but free. Depends who's asking. Who's asking? This works because SteamOS is literally built for this, and as you know, that's my channel advertises all the time. It's Arch Linux based. Vulkan as a default graphics API, Mesa as the open driver stack, and several of Linux only tags. We won't tell you that magic witchcraft wizard. I was kidding. I'm just talking with you. So let's talk about DMA-BUF. 0 copy memory sharing between CPU and GPU, no duplication, no overhead, no crying. So Vulkan sparse memory binding, a GPU memory that can dynamically expand and contract as needed. So game first scheduler tuned for GPU bound loads, not a generic Windows stack like, hi, here's your RGB service eating 300 megabytes of RAM for no fucking reason. So the real tech, if we already seen this in action, so let's look at the Steam Deck, the Legion Go S running on SteamOS, desktop installs, and now the Steam Machine. Or soon we will see it. Anyways, so here's the part that makes me laugh a little or chuckle a little. This is the same unified model also applies to SteamOS on desktop, meaning if you have a RX 4080, RX 5080, RX 57 700, Vega 56, RX 5600 XT, or RX 5500, or literally any 4 to 8 gigabytes of VRAM on an AMD card, and your card has good compute but not enough VRAM, well, congratulations, SteamOS just patch your GPU and your 4 gigabytes of VRAM. Your GPU can solidly behave like a 6 or 8, or even worse depending on the system RAM, but this is not something Windows handles well. Windows panics and starts swapping into the SSD like a boomer defending Internet Explorer. But SteamOS is like, yeah, VRAM limitations, never really heard of it. So this is bigger than people think. So this is bigger than the Steam Machine, Linux meets, Bell being Valve. So this is a fundamental shift in how consumers and OSs treat memory. This means GPU age matters less, VRAM limits matters less, mid-range GPUs become way more viable, modded games perform better, ray tracing doesn't destroy your PC, high-end textures stop stuttering, and old hardware becomes relevant again, and devs get pushed harder into Vulkan, which is a good thing, because Linux. So this is the closest thing we've ever had VRAM becoming elastic, I guess, for better terms. So let me give a quick side note. So yes, this helps AMD way more than Nvidia, but hey, I got another video upcoming. So when Nvidia drop it, because I know what they have in the cooking. Anyway, getting back to it, yes, this helps AMD way more than Nvidia because Massive Vulkan, sparse memory, unified allocation, and serial copy GPU buffer all work smoother on AMD to open drivers. Nvidia will benefit, but not as dramatically unless MVK continues to explode with growth that has been in like 2024 and 2025. But as you saw in one of my videos, it's coming. It's coming soon. I don't know where, but it's coming. So if MVK fully matures, even Nvidia's users get that dark wizard magic. But AMD users are eating good right now, as obviously I'm fucking glazing them. I wish I had an AMD GPU right now. So this also directs this is also a direct threat to Windows because Windows memory management is ancient. DX12 doesn't support parsed memory as efficient as WDDM overhead. It's huge. VRAM paging is slow, and Windows swats way too aggressively. SteamOS feels like gaming OS design in 2025. Windows feels like a duct tape legacy design from 2005. Valve just pretty much exposed the difference, and the more and more it matures, you're gonna see it more and more. You're gonna notice a difference. So yeah, but Valve didn't just release a console. Well, they're not gonna just release a console. They didn't just release a new controller. They didn't just update SteamOS. They created a memory management model that completely redefines how GPUs and VRAM limits. So your GPU might not be outdated after all. Your VRAM might not be an issue. Your older AMD card might be entering a second life arc. He's probably doing like the JoJo freaking laugh. Okay, so we're watching the birth of a new era of PC gaming, and it's happening on Linux, and it's happening because Valve refuses to act normal, pretty much. Because I love that about them. I love me a little rebel. So if you want to follow up and deep dives of text, sparse memory binding, you call it, you already know what to do. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, as always, stay spooky, stay weird. Bye.
Dim, dam, dadilam, vacarme s'en va dans l'oubli éternel. Et Gustave, dom guardiam, dilim, dididididam, lute sera dodidom, seram. Dim, dim, da da da, dim, dim, da da da, dim.